Welcome to Cactus Core Reviews Mother 3. My name's Kevandre.
My name is Bobby, and I've been waiting for this one.
He's been waiting for this one. We kind of put off doing this review, but it's time. So we're going to follow the similar structure that we did for Minish Cap, I believe.
Where we just have a couple of bullet points, we're going to go down the list, and just sort of talk about it, and at the end we do our personal take and give a final, out of 10 score.
Right. So the first bullet point is controls. This is all you. I don't really...
Right. Well, the problem is that a lot of the controls, it's basic RPG. It's up, down, left, right, and talking. You got the little running mechanism, which I do appreciate running. That first Pokemon game without running was a bitch. Mm-hmm. So I like the running. But if we were talking battle controls, again, it's mostly pretty simple, except for one thing. And that's where they added the rhythm section into it.
Yeah.
This is... I know at the beginning I said that I kind of got the hang of it and I was trying to figure it out. And then it completely lost it. It's not very good emulating. This is one of the things that I have to imagine would be actually better on a proper game console.
That is what I have come to understand. The GBA version of this game, the rhythm mechanic works fine.
Okay.
Totally fine. So I think that's not something that we can hold against the game.
Right. Yeah. But it's just I want to be very much aware, hey, if you're emulating this because it hasn't been brought to America, a lot of that battle system with the rhythm bit isn't going to be very easy. It's not going to work out very well.
Right. If you're emulating on the VBA, I believe that I heard that if you did it on the Ouya, it works pretty well, but since nobody has an Ouya...
Yeah, what the fuck is an Ouya?
Oh, we'll talk about it later. So anything else about controls?
No, it's pretty simple. They felt pretty darn responsive while running. Everything was pretty intuitive.
Yeah.
So, good controls. There's no way to shine here. So right. I guess a default 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next category is graphics.
Now it's a sprite-based game.
Right.
It's older.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hold too much against it.
Right.
But some scenes were really beautiful, like the little sunflower thing. That was pretty
That was
awesome.
Great.
And then a lot of the character designs,
yeah,
especially a lot of the monsters, that's very ingenious. I thought some of those were really cool. Some of them were cheesy and dumb as fuck,
but I loved them anyway.
Right.
I think that the character design and the way that the graphics worked was actually really good for the most part. I often forget about how good games on the GBA could look, because you look at some games and you're like, wow, just who would want to play this? Just it looks ugly. But some games, like Minish Cap before,
absolutely,
and Mother 3 now, they did really well with it, I think. I think that it looks better than Earthbound does.
Okay, yeah. So again, graphics, for what it is, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Environment. Okay. So when we're talking about this, the whole setting of the thing, or how would you want to define environment?
So, you got the Nowhere Islands, right? And you get a little bit of variation. You get more variation than you get in Breath of the Wild, but
I like Breath of the Wild. Shut up.
I didn't say it was bad. Anyway, you get a little more variety in Mother 3. You got the Snowy Mountain, which looks nice. You got the island areas. You got the trippy ass areas, which was great.
Yeah.
You didn't like it from a gameplay perspective.
I did not.
But it was hilarious and I loved it.
Okay. So there is a lot of change up, but it still felt mostly just one map that was mostly up and down with a little bit left to right.
So it's interesting because Earthbound is a little different because you go all the way the fuck around this country, right? So there's a bunch of different areas that are significantly different, whereas in Mother 3, it's confined to these islands. Yeah. So I understand why it wouldn't be super different between every area, just because of the setting. Yeah. I don't really have a problem with anything that we had.
I don't have a problem with it. It still didn't stand out too much. There's some bits that were like, oh, well, that's neat. But if it just didn't have that, then
it's nothing mind-blowing environment-wise, aside from the sunflower field.
Yeah, the sunflower field
was dope.
Awesome. All right. So, story. Holy shit.
Okay.
So, first half started out perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It was very emotional, at the end of, the second or third episode that we played, holy shit, the mom died. And we was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Very emotional, we dug it. And then, the brother was kind of dead, but we knew
missing.
He wasn't really.
Yeah.
Right. And we saw Heartbroke Batman.
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
And that was one of the best showing of grief I've seen in a video game.
Right? It was really good.
Where he just decides to beat the shit out of the people around him when he found out that his wife is dead.
And then you get them a gypsies. Mm-hmm. That was a bit weird, but okay, sure.
I'm
why
for
not?
it. Yeah, they're strange, but any excuse to do the Alan Rickman voice.
Right. The problem for me actually happened right at the end.
Right at the end.
Was everything supposed to come together. And that's when we started talking to Leader. The tall-ass,
Stephen Merchant-ass motherfucker. And I talked for like 20 minutes and killed my voice.
That was pretty much a whole episode by itself.
Right.
Okay. So, is this game supposed to be sci-fi? Or fantasy? Or exploration? Or self-discovery? Or slice of life?
Yes.
What the fuck is it supposed to be?
The answer is yes.
Because it didn't do any of them well.
It did all of them. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. That means it didn't do anything well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think story-wise... I like the story a lot more than Bobby does. I super don't really have a problem with any of the backstory that Leader gives you. I wish that it had been kind of filtered in throughout the story rather than given to you all at once.
So it's a data dump, which
I mean I'm okay with too.
I'm okay with if it happens like in the beginning to get you caught up to speed. This happened at the end.
Yeah,
that's not good.
I wish that there had been a lot more hints at it at least, because. Going through this game when we were playing it, you have to understand that I had seen everything in this game beforehand. Because I watched the Beard Bros play it before we played it. And so I knew all of that backstory. But there's just not a lot of hinting at it at all. Which I think would be a lot better. It's just like, oh shit, that explains all of this.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't do any of that. It just kind of feels like, oh, okay, so that's a thing. I mean, I don't mind it. But I can understand why some people wouldn't like it.
Right, and then you get to where you're fighting Porky.
Yeah.
And it sort of felt kind of weird for him to just be suddenly thrown in there like, oh yeah, here's the sun, big fucking tower.
Yeah.
But you see all the soldiers in it, and I was like, okay, that's just me griping about shit. I'm going to get over this one, that's me being wrong.
Right.
And you get Facade, and you figure out Facade is one of the gypsies.
Yes.
Which, man, did they not really build that up too much.
It was pretty dope, though.
It was just like... Was it?
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, I guess you're easily impressed.
Yeah. That's why I'm friends with you.
Oh, that was a good one, sir. But then you don't even get the satisfaction of really killing Porky. He's perfectly safe forever. Apparently, because of plot device.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's a pretty dope way for him to be quote-unquote killed. Like, sure, if you play Earthbound, you fucking hate Porky more than anything else, or Pokey in the American version of Earthbound. They did it wrong, but...
Fair enough.
So, I mean, but Porky's basically gone through space and time for millions of years, he said, and he's just this old man now in Mother 3.
Yeah.
And now he's just trapped in a ball. He can't ever come out of it. Honestly, I think that's a worse ending for him than if he had died. So, I mean, it's kind of a dope ending for someone who completely betrayed his friends in Earthbound and then tried to take over everything in Mother 3.
Kinda. But then you also get, like, the whole your mom's coming back and speaking voices thing, and I didn't care for that. Yeah, the game set up for Ghost, and yeah, it's set up for the mom sort of still kind of being an ethereal thing there, but that was, like, a very specific instance. And her actually, like, talking to this computer-controlled kid and saying, oh yeah, you're our son in the final battle, which is kind of like, okay, that's a bit of a stretch, but I think they could have done it a slightly better way. And that's if where Porky starts to do the time jump thing. Like, hey, I'm dying, I'm losing this battle.
Let's do the time warp again. Yeah.
Right, let's do the time warp again. And they're fighting him, and it's going through different realities where, like, they're wearing slightly different clothes. Or you see, like, the mom trapped in the background where she was captured instead of killed. Mm-hmm. Things like that. And when you're fighting him, the final battle against your brother, you know, Hanzo, please. But, you're going through different realities, and that will explain some of the odd intervals and why they keep repeating the same thing. You're going through different realities where the mom still knows what's going on, but she's talking to him. And they could have had this odd little time warp thing, and Porky just gets lost in the time warp. So he's trapped in between times.
That'd be interesting, too.
I think that could have been better, and I think it would have been a lot more satisfying than, oh yeah, you didn't actually get to kill Porky, and you were only saved by plot device at the end against your brother.
I don't think that would have been nearly as emotionally amazing as it was in the game, though. In regards to Porky, sure.
I think it could have, because, hey, your mom's dead in your reality, and now you are seeing her again, jumping through time.
You're hearing her again. Again, we've seen her before, though. It's not like it's unheard of, and it's just all of a sudden at the end. Oh yeah, hey, I'm a ghost now. Hey, you're our son. Kill yourself. You know. But the first time that I experienced the ending through the Beard Bros playing it, like I fucking cried, and I don't have anything that makes me feel bad about saying that. That was it. It was so emotionally amazing. I loved it.
Whereas if you're me and you saw that ending, it just pissed you the fuck off.
He got really mad. He was wrong, and that's okay. But I don't know. I don't have a problem with the ending at all, really. I mean, it would be cool to see the other thing that you were talking about, the different times, but I don't really have a problem with what we had either.
I did.
Yeah, I know you did.
I think it did a very poor job of building up to a lot of the world explaining, and then it left a lot of loose ends and didn't tie shit together very well. So I'm giving story like a 2 out of 10. It just pissed me the fuck off.
In that case, I'll even that shit out with a 10 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah.
Boss battles. Fuck these boss battles.
Yeah, I'll be with you on this one.
Okay. Now, I know some people are going to be like, oh, you're such a bitch, and oh, if you just do this, it's fine. Okay, just to give you a heads up, we were using a guide throughout the entire thing, and these boss battles were still cheap as fuck.
I'll tell you that the guide was great in the beginning, but it kind of got really shitty near the end.
Yeah, in the end, it got dumb. But every single boss battle, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, you went into it, and if you weren't actively using a guide, the game clearly expected you to die a few times trying to figure this out.
Right.
There was no, hey, you can grind to overcome this. Hey, you're going to be fine. It's, no, you're going to be frozen, and the game will fuck you 6 ways to Sunday.
That does sound like Etoy to me.
Right. It's not good balancing, especially when a lot of the monsters that you're fighting still kind of weak, and like you can get to a point where you're just running over them in that area, you fight the boss, and the boss kicks your ass.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's bad game balancing.
Yeah, the boss battles I think is probably the worst part of this game, aside from the final battle with the Masked Man. We just talked about it, but I think that it's one of the best moments in gaming. At least from a plot perspective. I mean, you're not really doing a boss battle so much as just surviving. And I like that a lot. But the rest of them, yeah, is pretty bullshit. Like, how are you supposed to know that you're supposed to keep this DCMC pamphlet to fuck up that one guy? That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have a guide, then you're like, okay, fuck this.
Yeah. It is so dumb.
Yeah, the boss battles are not great.
Yeah, so boo on that. Replayability.
Yeah. So this is one that I'm going to have to probably talk about because you only played it once.
Yeah, but that being said, I wouldn't replay it.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't.
Not only just because I didn't like the game, but also because it felt like with one playthrough, you did most of everything. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot left unexplored.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, sure, there's probably a few items we could go get. I know there was one
special battles that we could have found.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, this was very much a story-driven game, and I think it fell on the story, but even if you didn't, it's still, why would you go do those things?
Yeah, so since I've now experienced the game twice, I have to say I think that once is probably enough. There's not a whole lot, like I said before, of things that are just hidden throughout the game that hint towards the end that you can just, when you're re-experiencing it, you catch all of those little things.
Right.
It happens, but not really as much as it could.
Not enough to justify.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
So unless you're a big fan of this kind of game, I don't see why you'd want to play it a second time.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. Though it's also different playing it for yourself versus playing it and recording and narrating and everything like that.
Yeah,
it's a whole different experience when you're playing these games.
I can definitely see that.
Next one is length. I think the game's too long.
See, it's just on the longer side of okay for me.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm playing an RPG, that's about how long I expect it to be.
That's why I don't play RPGs.
Oh, well,
they're too long for me. I felt like this one we were playing forever. And sure, we're playing it for a couple hours every weekend since, August, right?
Yeah.
So it felt like it took for fucking ever to get through this game. But if we were just playing it ourselves without having to be on a schedule and recording and everything, maybe that would be a different situation.
Probably, because then it'd just be like 2 weeks, you're done.
Right.
And that's just playing it casually.
Right.
We're hardcore. It'd be like, hey, this is a 50-hour game. Hey, I got 48 hours in the weekend. I'm going to kill this shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe length is totally fine. I just felt like it took us a really long time to get through this one.
But you're also not an RPG fan.
I am not.
I can completely understand. For an RPG kind of game, I think the length is perfectly fine.
And that's why I'm absolutely terrified for us to one day play a Xenoblade game on this channel.
It's gonna be
It'll
great.
be a fucking whole year goddamn series. And then finally, our personal takes. And you probably kind of guessed it throughout this entire thing. I think it's a great game. I honestly, if it ever comes out officially in English, I will buy it just because I think that it deserves the support.
Okay.
I like the story a lot. I like the environment. I like everything except for the boss battles, except for the last one. I would definitely recommend this game to RPG fans. Maybe not ones who are as squeamish about things as Bobby, but I honestly like it a lot. And personally, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. As for my take, the game started off really strong. I think it had a very good base going for it, and then at the end it just managed to not quite pull it all together. It had a whole bunch of different threads, and they all sort of fizzled out. And being that it's such a heavily story-driven game, that was a big fall down for me.
Yeah.
And I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the boss battles. That instantly made me not like the game. It's just these fucking boss battles. God damn it. But it did try to incorporate a lot of elements, and I'd say this is probably one of the best games to learn from if I've seen one. Because if you play this game, you're going to figure out a whole bunch of different things. You're going to figure out rhythm, sci-fi, all these RPG elements, and you're going to realize, hey, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. If you're going into like game design and creation, you'll figure out, you know, what kind of sprites work, which ones don't. You can learn a ton from this game. And for that, I'm going to rate it a little bit higher than what I normally would. Because this is our channel, and that's, you know, it's not just my personal take. If I were to do like just a pure personal one, I'd give it like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
But because you can learn so much from it, because it did try to do so much, and because so many people enjoy it, and because that music was goddamn awesome. Sweet Jesus, I love the music.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't have music as one of these categories.
We do need to put that on
We need
there.
to put that on
Alright,
there.
we're going to put that on there for the future ones.
Yeah, music is fucking great.
Yeah, the music was awesome. I'm going to go ahead and rate it 5 out of 10.
Okay.
I still really didn't like the game, but I am glad to have played it.
Yes. I'm surprised that you would have wanted to give it a 2 out of 10 just because of the boss battles and the ending, though.
That's all it had going for it.
You liked
Other than
the
that,
rest of it.
Other than that, it's just grinding.
Yeah.
But I can like a story, like if I'm reading a book, I can like that story all the way up until the end, and if the end doesn't deliver, that whole book is fucked.
You fucking... It's the same shit with the Mass Effect 3 thing. Like, god damn, I hated those people. Whole game was great! Even if you don't like the ending, that doesn't mean that the rest of the game was not great, and is still worthy of a high score, even if it's not like a perfect score. I don't know.
If the game wasn't entirely like story-driven, which Mass Effect wasn't, it is very heavy on story, but you could totally do... There's enough else in there that you didn't have to just rely on story. Which is
See, again, though, but we're also doing this grading system based off of 5 being the average.
Yes.
And you would put it 2. You'd put it that below average?
Fuck yes, I would.
No, I completely disagree with you, sir.
If it was just the story or just the boss battles, fine. But when it has both of those things, fuck that.
The story was still dope, aside from the ending, according to you, and I still think it's a great ending.
I disagree.
Yeah, alright.
And that's where we make a good channel. Because I hate shit.
Okay, so you're the math person. What's the average score here? 8 and 5.
8 and 5?
Yeah.
6.5?
6.5? That's probably not as good as a score as it deserves, but I guess 6.5 out of 10.
I think it's being generous.
Okay. Alright, guys. Catch us next time on a review. I think the next review will probably be Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
So, yeah, catch us then.
And that one's going to be a lot more positive. We both love that.
Yes, it will be.
I don't hate everything. I just hate most everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. Later, players.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.